Hey everyone, we have urgent news for you on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. I was leaving home and I just received this very important information regarding changes at Ninho do Urubu. We should have some changes happening as soon as this Saturday. I just got the information here. Look, it's very important because it's exactly what they're aiming for. They're taking the opportunity to keep the players more focused and avoid certain situations that we know high-performance athletes need to avoid. So we're going to bring you this information here. Now, I want to remind you that you can get Mango's official products. By the way, man, this jersey here, look, it's hard to keep warm because it's sold out, but this goalkeeper jersey here is spectacular. It's really spectacular. And you can get it here on YouTube Shopping, also at Flamengo's official stores, but here on Shopping, on YouTube Shopping, you can get it. Also, remember our sponsors are in the pinned comment. And today I want to let you know, if you're in Florida, that AIP Florida, man, they choose the best insurance for you, man. They chose Progressive. For me, it was amazing. They recommended it to me, man. They always recommend it to me. It's for your home, your car. Best insurance. You can get your car insured here in Florida. That's awesome. My car is insured. And you can get your car insured too with AIP Florida. Okay, look them up. They'll have the best insurance options. They're the most awarded in Florida. Anna does a fantastic job, man. So, if you also want to have your house in Florida, want to invest, want to dollarize your assets, man, also look for Vivi Homes Orlando at Vivi Homes Orlando. Man, she did everything, man, all the paperwork, everything for my house here, man. She's amazing. If you want to get to know, want to have the chance to get to know, maybe even meet me here, you know, if you're passing through here. Man, if you want to invest in Florida, man, Miami, Orlando, you talk to Vivi, say you came through Paparazzo Rubro Negro, you won't regret it. The view is beautiful, right, man? Whatever, guys. We're going to bring you the news now about the changes Flamengo is implementing. And all of this is happening this week when Felipe Luiz ended up being fired. So I'm going to bring you the information we received from a source connected to Flamengo's soccer department thanks to the actions of our team. The changes implemented by Leonardo Jardim are already starting to show even before the final of the Carioca Championship. One of the coach's first decisions was to bring the professional squad's training back to Ninho do Urubu, a practice that had stopped during the period when Felipe Luiz was in charge. With the new decision, the players selected for the match against Fluminense will report to the training center on the eve of the game and will stay there overnight, okay? The expectation is that other measures will also be adopted. The coaching staff's idea is to reduce some freedom since there is an internal assessment that certain players have crossed the line recently. Even so, within the club, the initiative is not seen as a strict stance, okay? A hardline approach, okay? The assessment is that the changes are meant to increase focus and ensure that the players maintain the level of concentration required for high performance. Man, yeah, man, I totally agree with that. The player, I said this here, guys, it's not about the player. Oh, he had freedom. There are a lot of players who take it seriously, really, most of them do, but some end up being bad apples and they spoil all the others. There are the young guys from the youth academy who also end up using those others as an example. It's time for a new coach. The expectation suddenly was that Flamengo would play a 4-4-2 formation, playing with the possibility of changing their formation and giving other players more opportunities. He put two teams to train in the scrimmage, one with Pedro in the attack, the other with Alassian in the attack. In other words, you have the possibility to give a new chance to Luiz Araújo, a new chance to Alassian, and give more playing time to Cebolinha. However, our friend Fabrício Barbieri also. I said earlier, he said that because of the style. Look at that, huh? Giving his opinion. He told me because of his style. Since Monaco, he's been following since Monaco. He plays with four in the midfield, and Mbappe used to play with Alassian as a central striker. Don't be surprised by this team with Pulgar, Jorginho, Nico, and Paquetá, Arrasca, and Pedro or Alassian. Pedro or Alassian could bench Pedro, play with Alassian and the wingers. Huh, man? But if it works, and remember that what they understand there is that it's not being strict. The guy just arrived and all. Even the Flamengo players were impressed with the quality of the training. The information is that they left impressed with the tactics, with everything about the training. So guys, we really have to hope that it works out. And the issue I mentioned to you earlier regarding the possible departure of Jose Boto, that Mbappe reportedly backed off. And even more so as not to cater to the egos of the players, because there are some players who really don't want Boto there anymore. That's for sure, because Boto, whether you like it or not, hit a sore spot. Even with a lot of people out there who I know are hoping for Boto to be fired, Boto hit a sore spot, right? He may have his mistakes, a lot of mistakes, I know that there are many mistakes, but he hit a sore spot. He called out the players, he demanded professionalism, he called out the athletes, he hit a sore spot, and that bothers people, right? And if BAP fires Boto right now, what does it look like? That he's giving in to the egos and wishes of some players? Although I understand that Boto really made some mistakes at times, and that's a reason for these players to be upset, but giving into that just because of a player's ego, you end up losing control, right? And then there's also the fact that Boto hired Leo Jardim. He's friends with Leo Jardim. What kind of support does the coach who just arrived have? If the guy who brought him in gets fired, then it's all very complicated. Let's see how things turn out. Flamengo needs a win against Fluminense. They need it. They need to win the Carioca Championship. Yeah, look at that. We also have some important information to share with you regarding Leo Jardim and Pedro Lorenzo, the owner of Cruzeiro's SF. There, he spoke out about Leonardo Jardim signing with Flamengo. As for Leonardo Jardim, I don't want to comment because it's his right. The world is free. The guy goes wherever he thinks he should go. It's his decision, and I don't want to interfere with that. I didn't think he did what people are saying. I didn't think it was a big deal. People are talking. Caio Jorge is definitely coming and will be called up next year. Thiago Asmar discussed it, and they asked if he has a visa. So Caio Jorge should be called up. And people are saying Caio Jorge, it's certain that he's coming, that he's going to ask for Caio Jorge. Leonardo Jardim. And man, there was a comment here that I think is interesting for us to bring up before we watch the footage of Flamengo's training. And then I'll be commenting with you guys here also about Mengao's training. Look at what Flabolado said. Check this out. He talked about the issue of...
He said he's going to play...
whoever is best, and Gabigol...
In his conversation with the group, he said he's going to play whoever is doing better. There's no such thing as a big name with him. It's the training that will decide. Back at Cruzeiro, Caio Jorge outperformed Gabigol in training and was chosen to play, showing that big names don't guarantee playing time. He values the collective part more than the individual part, which means the players play for the group. He said he's an employee of Flamengo, so he'll always try to do what's best for Flamengo. Alright man, those statements are cool, they're nice, making it clear that he's the one who's going to push the players, but my question again is, will the players buy into his idea? What if he tries his best for the club, but the players don't support him?
Yeah, if the players don't buy into the idea, it's complicated, right? Let's take a look at how the training is going, right? The third training session, Flamengo released it for us, so go ahead and subscribe there. On Flamengo TV, it's reaching 8 million soon, Flamengo TV. Let's see how Mengo's training went. Look at that, we're following along. This is the third training session, right? Leonardo Jardim's third training session, his third time leading Flamengo, right? At Ninho do Urubu. And you're watching the footage here. Pedro over there getting ready, man. It's really important, right? This start for Leonardo Jardim, and that he can make the best use possible of both Pedro and Arrascaeta. Players who make a difference, right? Flamengo's squad has these players, man, who really stand out in Brazilian football. And if he knows how to use them in the best way possible, especially with a system that suits Flamengo, right? Taking advantage, creating more opportunities, making the most of the talent, making the most of the players would be really important. Look, you can see the new fitness coach there, right? Arthur Peixoto, right? who was already at the club and now works there as the main fitness coach, handling everything. The team, look, Leonardo Jardim's team is already training with him at Ninho do Urubu. Okay, they arrived last night. It's important for us to mention Diogo Diaz is already with him, right? They're already there with him. Antonio Vieira too. His whole team is there now, the entire coaching staff, right? They're already working with him at the Ninho do Urubu training center. And he has this habit of splitting up the squad, right? Between players with and without vests. And it doesn't mean that those with vests will be starters and those without will be substitutes. It's nothing like that, okay? He just splits them up and tries to make two balanced teams. We can't even have any idea of which team will take the field on Sunday against Fluminense. Obviously, soon there will be some leaks, someone saying that he trained with the starting team or something, but most likely that's it. At least that's how it was. With Jorge Jesus, he has a very similar approach to Jorge Jesus, avoiding letting too many people have access to Flamengo's training sessions. There's some information we're bringing here that I heard one of his first priorities was ensuring that very few people who have access to the training center would be able to watch Flamengo's training sessions. That the people who are present at the training center can't have access to the tactical training sessions, especially the ones that will define the lineup. But he himself probably won't give the team much information about who is actually going to play before the match, on the day of the match. But it's important that he's making these changes at the training center, during the training sessions and everything else. Because Flamengo, man, really needs to have that privacy, and the less information that leaks before the game, the better. And then people were complaining like, oh, but his clipboard got leaked. But man, that clipboard was just one of the teams he was dividing up. We've already explained that here, right? There was no leak of the clipboard, nothing intentional, nothing on Flamengo TV, nothing like that. You guys are watching the training there, which must have a lot of opportunities, a lot of skill, right? You know that he asked for Luiz Araújo to be signed back at Cruzeiro. He really likes Luiz Araújo. So it's important for us to bring this information that Luiz Araújo will probably be a player who gets a lot of opportunities with Leonardo Jardim, just like other players who weren't getting many opportunities with Felipe. You know that Luiz Araújo even thought about leaving Flamengo. He wanted to be transferred, but now that should change. That's it. Subscribe to the channel, also to Flamengo TV and Ativa.